Welcome to Cliff Alerts. Today I will be reviewing The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 12, and the title of this episode is Looking Through Rose-Colored Lens, which I think is a great title simply because sometimes you have a full sense of what's happening around you. You have to, in life, take off those glasses and see where you're going and what you may be potentially about to fall into. So the episode starts with Sutton. She's preparing a meal for her kids, Porter and Philip. Evidently, Philip is getting ready to attend military school, the Citadel, and Sutton is talking about how he grew up and the changes she had to make so that he could understand. He got to, I guess, give something back. So he has always wanted to join the army when he was younger. So now he is preparing to go to military school. So I guess he's going to be an officer in the armed forces. We see Garcelle and Dorit meeting up for a meal. Garcelle indicated that her relationship with Dorit had changed over the course of the year. They were really going at it last year, and it was not a pleasant situation for either one of them. So they changed it up, and both of the ladies seem to be a little more cordial to each other. I'm not saying they're besties, but at least they're keeping all that negative stuff at bay. Garcelle asks Dorit about PK's DUI, and Dorit explained that, PK took 2 breathalyzers. One was 8.1, the other one was under 8. While the police did take him to the station, they did eventually drive him home and did not give him a ticket. Garcelle chuckled at that one because she knows that people who have been kissed don't often get pulled over by the cops. They take them to the station and then the cops drive them home. Great if you can get it, but she's saying that's not her experience and the experience of her people. Garcelle telling Dorit her conversation with Erica, that Erica is telling her that Sutton is a liability, and Garcelle indicated that she understands where Erica is coming from, but she's a friend to Sutton and she's a loyal friend. The way Erica framed the liability issue was troubling to Garcelle because she believes that Erica thinks that she's not looking out for herself or can't take care of herself in her defending Sutton all the time. And Dorit came back with saying that it doesn't look like she and Sutton are in a Thelma and Louise situation. According to Dorit and her interpretation of that scenario with Thelma and Louise, that Garcelle will see someone go over the cliff and then maybe call to get help for them, but she's not going to be in the car with them. We see Erica meeting up with some other people. I'm not about to promote anything that Erica is doing, so that's all I have on that matter. We see Renna meeting with Sutton at a restaurant, and they're having a meal and drinks. Conversation opens up with Renna telling Sutton that she's infuriating and what have you, but the burden of being angry with her is too much and she gotta let that go. Now watch the setup and the manipulation. She tells Sutton that she is having an event at her home and she needs Sutton to come through. Sutton said she's not afraid of Renna except for that one time when they had the Elton John discussion at Renna's husband's birthday party. And they decided that they're gonna quash things, that all is well. They're going to move forward in a healthier space. That's the setup. However, the words coming out of Rena's mouth is interesting. She says she loves torturing Sutton. That statement has a lot of weight to it. So we know something's coming because the ladies have aligned themselves to take down Sutton, and we all know it's coming, and this is probably part 2 of it. The kernel of this upset was that Sutton went on Watch What Happens Live and indicated that Lisa Rinna never thanked her for tickets to attend an Elton John charity event. And mind you, Sutton said that in defense of Garcelle. So the usual suspects arrive: Rinna, Garcelle, Erica, Dorit. Carl wasn't there because she was sick, and Crystal wasn't there either. So they're having the discussion, and all of a sudden they started talking about Crystal and her situation going on. And Dorit stated that Crystal is throwing up every day. And Erica and Rinna talked about she has the resources. She probably needs to go see a professional since this has been going on for some time. I gotta throw the flag on this one. Crystal is not there to defend herself, and you're talking about an issue, a real issue she's having, and they're so casual with it. They're putting out information about her that I have no idea whether she authorized Dorit to say that on national television. Additionally, this is an issue that Rinna has experienced with her daughter. So she must know the confidentiality of this is attention should be paid. So them openly discussing Crystal without her being there is another indication of how twisted and foul these women are. While Crystal is the one who brought forward the issue that she's having about an eating disorder, it's not a topic of conversation that the ladies should be going on television and talking about. An eating disorder is a very challenging problem or issue to have, and it affects people for years, how they look at food, how they look at themselves, their self-esteem, and everything else. So it's really troubling that a woman who has a daughter who went through that, it was woefully inappropriate to do that. So Garcelle and Erica are having a conversation, and Garcelle, of course, wants clarity about Erica saying that her association with Sutton is a liability. Erica goes on to say that it seems like Garcelle cleans up for Sutton every time she puts her foot in her mouth, and that she's a big girl, she could take care of herself. Sutton knows what she's doing by all these upsets she has with people by, what she says, and it seems like she's not really actively doing anything about it. Garcelle comes back and said, well, that's a true friend. Being in support of your friends is a good thing, and that she's a loyal person, and that's what she's gonna do. Garcelle asks Erica if she felt like Garcelle has supported her. Erica told her no, that she does not give her the benefit of the doubt. Last year, when she tried to explain her situation with her husband and what was going on, she felt like Garcelle wasn't giving her any slack, and ultimately did not believe her. And Garcelle said, yeah, didn't believe you. I just did not believe what was coming out of your mouth. And, we're looking at this after the fact, but we know that Erica was not completely honest and truthful and upright about what allegedly occurred. And even now, there's situations happen further proves a point. And the takeaway was that the ladies thought that Garcelle was Sutton's cleanup woman. I think Erica and her circle of friends are hypocrites when they say that stuff to Garcelle, because she's not looking at how she and her friends or associates behave on this show and what they do in support of their friends. What they do is that they're very loyal to each other and support their friends and clean up after each other, which is the same thing Erica is accusing Garcelle of doing. So what's the point? If Garcelle is a liability for Sutton, Erica is a liability for these ladies who think that they have it going on. Dorita's noticing how much Erica is drinking. Perhaps she didn't want to look at it, but she's looking at Erica because initially when Erica came through the party, she said she wanted something non-alcoholic. So at least the ladies had hope. But how is a person who's trying not to drink is gonna be successful at that task if they're invited to a wine tasting event? Unless you're in a 12-step program and you have all the tools under your belt, and even in that you tend to avoid situations like that will tempt you. Erica, we know Erica is gonna drink, and at one point she started talking about her sex life, that she didn't need a relationship, all she wanted was to be serviced. Sutton starts off asking Erica, why did she think that she's a liability, that if she thought so, she should have just told her and not Garcelle. And of course, Garcelle mentions that quickly to Sutton prior to her having a conversation with Erica. So Garcelle looks a little taken aback that she would even bring it up. So Erica goes in about yada, yada, yada. She does stuff, and Garcelle seems to be always supportive of her, or clean stuff up or help her. You know, that nonsensical conversation she has going on. And then Renna gets into it. Renna starts talking to Sutton about the Elton John situation. And Renna is getting more and more agitated. It seemed like she forgot that she and Sutton had met earlier and squashed this. And Sutton kept referring her back to that meeting where they said, okay, this has happened. Sutton apologized for it, and now we're going to move on. Renna is talking about the incident and her embarrassment surrounding the incident, as if she and Sutton had never had a conversation and that she never heard Sutton apologize to her and Harry for it. Renna told her to mock her and get out of her house. Then she starts screaming, if anybody attacks her or family, she gonna take them down. And then she repeats it as if she's sending a message to everybody around her, shouting that she's gonna take her down. Why is Garcelle and Sutton still sitting there? Anyone who you are invited to their home and they act out in such a vile way, then they're telling you, I don't need you to be here. You need to leave. In fact, she told Sutton to get the F out of her house. Cherie told Renna prior to this upset that she was a nurturing person. Cherie clearly either wants to kiss Renna's ass, or she has not been tracking this show for a considerable amount of time. Because one thing Renna is not, that's nurturing. She may be nurturing to her daughters or her husband, but even in that, from what we've seen, that has requirements to it. The question would be for me to ask Sherry if she thinks Renna is still nurturing after Renna's explosive outburst towards Sutton and her guest. So, because again, hypocrisy. Rena brings people on to explode on them, but yet she had nothing to say when Erica cussed at Garcelle's sons. And Garcelle certainly didn't behave like that when she and Erica had a conversation that she should not talk to her children like that. See the double standards? See the hypocrisy? It's right. You could cut it with a chainsaw. So the episode ends to be continued, but I don't know what you're continuing. All you see is a continuation of Rena acting out, and then she went on Watch What Happens Live and tries to apologize for her rank behavior. I don't know who's gonna accept that apology, again, because she's been doing this over and over and over again. This is not her first time at the rodeo. This is who this woman is. And added that she said she likes to torture Sutton. Anybody in your life who's telling you, I like to torture somebody, they will act in a way to destroy you. That's what they're letting you know. So that's all I have. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And be mindful, people. Take off those rose-colored glasses and start checking people out and where you are and who you're surrounded by. Because your life may depend on it. Be blessed. Bye-bye.